What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, The Real Ish. Alright, so we're gonna jump into this quick video. I'm not trying to make this overly long. If you have seen the last video, I talked about bad horror remakes. I mentioned how Hollywood is running out of ideas, specifically in the horror genre. Like, I can tell you a lot of things on top of my head that needs to stop being remade, like Scream, like Halloween, like Final Destination. I know what you did last summer. Did I say Scream? And I said in a new video I was gonna touch on that. So, jumping right into it, alright? Let's get this going. Alright, so, you know, even typing this in on Google, it tells you right here that Hollywood is running out of ideas in the horror genre. Claim that Hollywood has run out of original ideas, particularly within the horror genre, is a common sentiment and has been debated for quite some time. Right. While some argue that the industry relies heavily on remakes, sequels, and pre-existing material, I think so. Others point to successful new horror films that demonstrate the genre's continued vitality. Instead of recycling of ideas, many critics argue that Hollywood, you know, they just recycle, remake, sequels, adaptation of existing works, leading to the lack of original stories. That's exactly what I meant in the last video that I named, like Scream, Final Destination, and I Know What You Did Last Summer. That's why I did that. I didn't say that those were specifically remakes, and I don't really think they're direct sequels, as some would say. But yeah, that's what I mean by that. Like, they keep making the same movies over and over and over, you know. It's so many of them out there, like, and I'm gonna put them up here and there, and I talk about the ones over and over and over again. So you can't deny that there are lacking new ideas, and a lot of these new horror movies I do not like. Okay, I'm not speaking for everybody, I'm speaking for myself. This is my real-ish opinion, not yours, it's mine. So I just feel like they're running out of ideas, and the sequel fatigue, my gosh, I'm exhausted from that myself. Continued sequels and spin-offs can lead to audience fatigue and decline in the box office performance. That's what I'm saying. When you just keep trying to feed off this one great movie that did well back in the 80s, 90s, whatever you may have it, and then they just keep going on and on and on. It's like, how far can you go with this? Can you be original? Can you come up with your own story? I guess not. And then it says studios often gravitate towards familiar, successful franchises, like I mentioned, you know, instead of trying to come up with something new and new ideas, you know. So this is not my words, this is on here. It says on Google, example, successful new horror films like Smile, you have Megan. They have demonstrated that new horror can commercially and critically be successful. And then it says sequels and remakes, continued popularity of franchises like Halloween and Halloween Ends highlight the appeal of established properties. You know, original horror movies like The Exorcist and The Blair Witch Project represent examples of successful original horror films. And then here's something on Reddit. Someone said, lack of originality in the horror genre. I don't want this, quote, I don't want this to sound like a gripe, but I've noticed that most of the major titles coming out of the next 12 to 24 months are sequels, often sequel upon sequels upon sequels. And this is 3 years ago on Reddit, and they are very true. Like, what they're saying is true. They say they love this genre, but it just gets their heart racing and blood pressure up to surprise me and show me things I've never seen before in Scream, rather than trying to piggyback off of movies that we've already seen and just keep making the same things over and over. And then you have different point of views. From 2022, it says, no, Hollywood hasn't lost its creativity. The cinema listings show a number of films that are not remakes and sequels. That's from 2022. We're in 2025. I've seen a lot of movies, like, not even scary movies, that they are redoing, you know. So I still say they are lacking originality and they're running out of ideas. So I just wanted to come on here with this quick video. You know, I didn't want it to be too long. It's just something that was on my mind and fresh, and I wanted to talk about it. So let me know what you think in the comments, your respectful opinion. Yeah, because if it's not, it's not gonna, I won't even reply to it, or I will reply. And yeah, so respectful comments. If you're new, check out the rest of the videos on the channel, subscribe, like this video, and God bless. I will see you guys in the next video.